Today I'm going to be painting some grotesque pets. This is the first time I've done a grotesque pet portrait, and I'm really happy that I got the commission. Right here I'm just setting up some watercolors and getting the watercolor palette nice and clean. I started by sketching out these pets from the reference pictures that I was sent. And with pets or the people that I paint my grotesque portraits of, I do try and get a pretty decent likeness of the subject before I start painting. They're grotesque portraits, so they're not going to end up looking totally accurate, but that part, the grotesque part takes care of itself for me. The likeness part, getting a likeness of it is kind of like the structure part. And the grotesque part is like the chaotic part. That's kind of how I think about it. And it doesn't matter if it's a human or a pet, there's nothing inherent about the subject that is the basis for the grotesqueness that I add. Like, in other words, I'm not picking out some kind of like feature about the subject like a caricaturist would to exaggerate. That's why I call these grotesque portraits and not grotesque caricatures. Well, that's not really why. I wasn't thinking about that when I came up with the idea in the name of grotesque portraits, but it is a little bit different than caricatures. And that's not to say anything bad about caricature artists. I'm not saying that I'm above that or anything like that. It's just like, it's a different, like, that's what caricaturists do, is like pick up on like the defining features of a face that make it different from other faces, and then they exaggerate that, and like it's a craft in and of itself, but it's just different from what I do here. So what becomes grotesque about it has more to do with my specific style of drawing and painting, which is basically just like leaning into accidents and randomness. So like in the drawing stage, as I'm trying to get the likeness and trying to make it look like the subject that I'm drawing, I'm making marks for the landmarks and trying to get the proportions right. But then I'm also making like these searching lines to try and like figure out the forms and stuff like that. And then in that process, those lines will start to look at things and hint at things, and like, oh, that makes it look like the eyes are all big and wide, and like the mouth, I made the mouth a little bit too long. And so instead of like with a portrait, if you're like trying to do like a more realistic portrait, you'll see those things and you'll start like correcting them for accuracy and stuff. And for me, I like follow them, if that makes sense. Like, instead of trying to make it look more like the subject, I just start to use those mistakes as like a jumping off point, like a departure. And then most of the work is really done in the drawing stage, I think. Like, the drawing stage is like me planning out the whole thing, which is the stage that I didn't even film. But I try and make it so that by the time I start watercoloring, it's like I already know what I'm gonna do, and then it's just following that. Yeah, the drawing stage, early on in doing these grotesque portraits, I realized two things. One was to try and get a likeness of the person, because that will it adds that structure that I need, and the grotesqueness will take care of itself, like I already said. And the second thing was to like take your time on the drawing stage. Because if you take your time at the drawing stage, the painting stage is a lot faster. You're not figuring out as many problems. The drawing really is the groundwork. So this is Larry and Peanut Butter. Peanut Butter is the cat, which makes Larry the dog. I used to have an orange cat that looked like Peanut Butter, actually. So this was personally very fun for me to paint. My orange cat was named O'Malley. We named him that after Thomas O'Malley from the Aristocats. He disappeared one day, actually. He just walked off, and we never saw him again. But there is this cat that looks just like him that walks around the neighborhood sometimes, and like he goes and picks fights with the other cats and gets the other stray girl cats pregnant and all that. And well, I mean, I guess I can't confirm that, but I suspect it's him, and we call that cat the ghost of O'Malley. Even though O'Malley was nothing like that cat. O'Malley was very chill and just would lay around. This other cat's just like a monster. But Peanut Butter and Larry are Alexis's little monsters. Alexis's. Her name is Alexis. Yeah, that's how you would say it, right? Alexis's? I don't know. But Alexis makes jam and other delicious looking treats. I'm gonna link to her Instagram in the description. It all looks very good. Now I'm going to put these little monsters in their little mat and then into their little frame, hand sculpted, resin cast frame made by me. I make these frames myself. And Peanut Butter loves it. Thank you for watching. Send me your pets to paint or your portrait to paint. You can find the link to that in the description in below. The description in below. Down there. Have fun. Good night.